How you end up in AZ?
Well, I mean, I came to Arizona to train after I left Canada. I went to Las Vegas and I played some arena ball.
Oh, okay.
I pulled my hammy and I ended up coming out here to train. My mom was living out here at the time, and there was some trainers out here, so I came out here to train and just decided I wasn't playing no more. And
Oh,
you know,
so
basically
you
stayed.
was like, man, I'm done, huh?
Yeah, basically. Well, the weather good though, so I stayed out here, man.
Man, I ain't never. What, it was 120 every day this summer?
Yeah, in the summer you in trouble. In the summer you in trouble, but other than that, like, cause I've been a bunch of places, but other than the summer, like for the rest of the year, like you gonna get 80 degrees the whole year. Like you ain't
Oh,
gonna,
okay.
you know what I'm saying? But yeah, other than dealing with the 4 months of heat, or 3 months of heat, it's cool.
What part of AZ you in?
Basically, I'm about 15 minutes away from Phoenix, so like the major metropolitan area.
Oh, okay, sweet,
Right,
sweet,
right, right,
sweet.
right.
So, man, just go ahead and share what is your name, where you from, and where you play ball at.
Thaddeus Lewis from California, from Long Beach, California. Played football for Cincinnati University. Did a little stint in Winnipeg, Canada. Las Vegas Gladiators. Originally I'm from St. Croix, Virgin Islands, though. I moved to California when I was 5.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right.
And it was straight to Long Beach.
Straight to Long Beach. I lived in
Oh
Long
man.
Beach. I lived in Long Beach till I was in 6th grade, and I moved out to Orange County. And I basically did Orange County from 6th grade on up.
Okay, okay. Nice, nice. And you but Orange County, what part of Orange County?
It was the southern part of Orange County, so like right where LA County and Orange County kind of meet, like right at the border.
Oh, okay. Man, so what made you get into sports? Was it like just something you was drawn to?
Well, for me, so right when so right when we left the island, my older brother, because I got 2 older brothers, my oldest brother anyway, he just basically just got into gang banging, right? So, we single mom, you know what I mean? So she was in the military, that's what got us off the island, and got us to the States. And St. Croix is it's actually a U.S. territory. So,
Territory.
you know what I'm
Okay,
saying? So I
okay.
had to get no green card and none of that stuff. So we came over. I had the accent, the heavy accent, and all the rest of that. You know what
I
I
know
mean?
that was torture, huh?
Right, right, right. So they used to give it to me, but my brother, he just started gangbanging right off bat. You know what I mean?
Wow.
This is like Boys in the Hood movie just came out that went back when it was really going down,
Ooh,
right? So
yeah.
so
And in Long Beach too.
yeah, and in Long Beach, right?
Yeah,
This before the Snoop Dogg days, right?
yeah.
Uh so basically, seeing him go through all the stuff that he was going through, I just decided that I didn't want to get into it. You know what I mean? So I just started playing sports. I was out in the streets playing sports. I didn't really play my first um I guess controlled or playing in any type of league until I got in the 8th grade. That was my first time playing, Pop Warner football. But I
Okay.
played in the streets like, every day up until
Sideline pop the whole nine.
right. You get on the curb, you in trouble. So I did that up until 8th grade. And I think for me, not being not playing in any type of leagues until then, I always wanted to do it, but I couldn't because, moms didn't have the money or I didn't
Yeah.
know when to sign up and that type of stuff. And I would see my boys coming home, you know what I'm saying? Like my first time playing with cleats, one of my boys just let me barge cleats and we was playing throw up tackle and, stepping on each other with the cleats
Oh
and
boy.
all that, right? So that was one of my first. So 8th grade was my first year, and I was a little bit more hungry than the kids that was out there already playing. You know what I mean? Because it was my first time doing it. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So a lot of those kids, especially in Orange County at that time, they would have their parents or whatnot take them to practice and all the rest of that stuff, and I would be the kid that just rolled up with all his pads on his bike. You know what
So
I'm
so
saying?
so man, when you was in St. Croix, football or soccer?
I didn't play nothing. Because I moved back. I moved out here when I was 5. So
Oh, okay.
back then it was just family stuff. We just ran around the yard. But I ain't played no sports. Ain't nobody in my family actually played any type of
Wow.
sports. You know what I mean?
Man. and you took to the football. So it was just
Basically.
something y'all did in the street, and then you just took to it, huh?
Right, basically. Supposedly I'm related to Tim Duncan. That's what my grandma be telling me. But
Oh, okay. From the
other than
islands, huh?
that, other than that, I don't know nobody else.
So, man, when you went to from the islands to the States, didn't know nothing about football, learned about football on the fly, huh?
Right. Just we
Man,
basically on my block we basically played almost every day. If it wasn't like something like ditch 'em or it was something athletic we were doing every day. It's not like how the kids is today. We was outside playing something.
Running around.
Yeah, it was always the fastest person called the shot. So we was always running. You know what I mean? That's how we did it. So it was so we always was doing something athletic.
Okay. So when you started gaining interest into it, did you get any instruction as far as, man, this is what you need to do? Did you know how far it could take you? How far that brown ball can take you?
No, never, man. I always knew I wanted to go to college. I always was just naturally good at football. My actual the sport that I liked the most was basketball. That was my favorite sport. But I never grew tall enough, and jumper wasn't hitting enough. So it was always a challenge. I played basketball way more after high school. I guess I started playing more before that. So I played basketball way more than I ever played football. But if I got on the football field, like the talent, it was a huge difference. Like on the basketball court, I was good, but I wasn't the best. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I always kind of knew I was going to take the football at some point, but my most of my attention was drawn to basketball for sure.
So, man, you said you always wanted to go to college. So you had intentions on going to college.
Yeah.
But did you know the brown ball could get you there?
Yeah. Well, kind of, because it wasn't like a planned vision that I had. Because once I got to playing, and I think once I got to like my junior year, senior year in high school, I started dreaming like I'm gonna play in the NFL, that type of thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I knew the next path would be college. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So so I kind of already knew I was gonna go. I went through a lot to actually get to college. You know what I mean? So, I didn't go straight out of high school. I was one of the best in my county.
Yeah.
I was in the papers, but I was small. I seen Chuck say something about being 160. I think I might have graduated 160. You know what I mean? I might have went straight to JUCO 160. You know what I'm saying? And one of my best friends was twins. They were both 6'5" receivers back when that was unheard of type stuff.
Yeah.
You know
So
what I mean?
you was a
so they got a lot of the attention when it came down to recruiting in high school. And one of them anyway. The other one went to junior college with me. One of them went to Northern Arizona, which is like a D1 AA school.
Okay.
And he ended up going on to the Ravens from NAU. But it's crazy because both my best friend I grew up with and Zach Norton, best friend in college, they both got drafted to the same team.
So they was at the Ravens, huh?
Yeah. It's crazy. Same team, same year. But yeah, man. So I ended up going to JUCO. That's where I basically gained my weight. I started figuring out, what because I had a really good coach in JUCO, so he started molding me and helping me figure out, and I started seeing, what it takes. I went to my first UCLA game. You know what I mean? I started seeing the size of people and what they actually looking for. I had the talent, so I just had to make myself into, the prospect that they were looking for. So I knew I had to be somewhere with my height, because I grew to, I think I graduated, I was probably like 5'8", 5'9". I grew to like 5'10".
Okay.
Or I was 5'8", 5'7" to 5'8", and I grew to 5'10". I was like 160. I put on like in the next 2 years, I put on like 20-something pounds. So I got to the 180 something.
Nice.
So I just started trying to fill out and be what they was. I ate all day. I basically my coach told me, like, he told me how to count calories. You know what I mean? Without that, I didn't know how to gain weight. So I would literally drink a shake in the morning, protein shake in the morning, maybe some oatmeal between breakfast and lunch. I would eat 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I have lunch with the shake.
You was
And
walking around with the shake?
yeah, all day, and I had bags of sandwiches basically, and I would just eat them, like not even hungry, just eat them. You know what I mean? And then train. So it came on good because I trained hard while I was doing that. But yeah, it was definitely a journey.
Man, what JUCO did you play at?
Fullerton Junior College in Orange County, California.
Okay, okay. Man, how was that experience playing at? Because I mean, it's different from high school.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool, man, because I always, school came easy to me. So I always, I was on a path. They say if you get out in 3.5 years, you got a better chance because colleges typically want you to be on campus a little bit earlier. I had my choice to go to other schools, like schools in LA County. They had better talent, but I chose to go to a school that had a better program. I guess a little bit more organized.
Yeah.
Just to call it what it is. If you go to one more of the black schools, you're gonna get more athletes, but it's gonna be more raw talent. You go to a whiter school, it's gonna be more organized,
Structure.
better coach, more structure, right? So that's what I chose to do. So that's why I was getting a lot of my guidance from. But I still didn't really understand anything about D1 or college, like to that extent. I just thought D1 was D1. It really boiled down because I had all my grades. I was supposed to graduate in 3.5 semesters. I ended up getting into it because my mom, she decided that she was gonna get married. So I was the last one to leave the house. So
she was out the house.
Yeah. So she was trying to find somebody. So she decided she wanted to get married, and I kind of got into it with her fiance at the time. So I ended up moving out, and I moved to my with my auntie, and then like 2 weeks later, she upped and was moving to Orlando. Pack the whole house up type stuff. So I end up in a few weeks end up just living out of my car. You know what I mean? So I stopped going to class. You know what I mean? And at that time, that's when I started talking to Cincinnati. And I had a bunch of schools lined up. Cincinnati being one of them.
Yeah.
And I had a visit to go to Cincinnati. And that semester, which would have been my last semester, I basically failed damn near all my classes, right? Because I ain't go. So funny story is I go to Cincinnati. When you come down Covington, you come down the thing, you see all the lights. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I'm like, oh,
city
lights. Like it's a different city, because oddly enough, like my last two schools end up, because a lot of schools dropped out when my grades dropped, but my last two schools were Cincinnati. And this was when Pete Carroll started at USC. So it was Pete Carroll, USC, in Cincinnati, which USC just kind of came out of nowhere. Like I'm like, and the reason being, and I go back to the story. The reason being is because I went to the structured school, but I always on Saturdays would go work out with all the talent. So I go to the Comptons, the Long Beach schools on Saturday, and typically I go to Compton. I don't know if you know Cedric Dolly, but that's where he went to JUCO there.
No, I didn't know Cedric played at. I know him, but I didn't know he played at Compton.
Yeah, and Dennis Hart. He actually.
Yeah, I know Dennis went there.
Yeah.
So you used to work out with Big Nate too. Nate Turner went to UNLV.
Yeah. That sounds familiar. That's the first place I met D Hart too.
Oh, okay.
Just being D Hart on the humbug, I didn't even realize who he was. But yeah, I used to go on and work out with them, and at the time, my coach, he basically had all the Long Beach Poly kids. I don't know if you heard of Long Beach Poly, but they're one of the best schools in the nation every year.
Yeah, I got a funny story about that one. I got a funny. So well, I played at East LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they when I was flying out, they had this kid from Long Beach Poly flying with me.
Right.
I'm like, and he hit me with, man, you getting a scholarship and you played at East LA, and I'm like, oh man, he's just gonna kill me because he played at Long Beach Poly. Fast forward, first day of pass, This nigga started turning his shoulders when he was sitting. I'm like, wait up, nigga.
Yeah.
I thought you was from Long Beach Valley.
Right.
But he ended up moving from DB to receiver. From receiver, he went to Arizona. He got the boot. He
Right.
lost the scholarship. But
Right.
go ahead, man. I apologize for interrupting.
No, you good. No, I mean it is that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of dudes that get hyped, and you know how that stuff goes, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean I used to go down there and work out with them, and at this time they was hoarding all the bounce backs, like dudes
Yeah.
that should have
They
went to
used to
these
be
major, Pac-10 schools that didn't go. You know what I mean? Because of grades or whatever the case might be, they had them all. So any scout come through, they gonna go through Compton.
Yeah.
And talk to coach. So anyway, Pete Carroll was looking for a DB. They had no DBs. And I used to go there every weekend and lock niggas up. So he basically so he basically put my name in. He was like, hey, if you're looking for a DB, you gotta go find Thaddeus, right?
Man,
so
that's dope.
I didn't know nothing about it. Like he was going to my school for weeks and I didn't know nothing about it. Nobody told me. I finally go see my counselor and she was like, Pete Carroll been in here. And I'm looking at her like, what? I don't even know what to think. Like, Pete Carroll. And she's like, yeah, he been in here looking at your grades and stuff like that. And I'm like, man. So she broke down basically all the stuff that I had to do. And then next thing you know, I just get, maybe like a day or so later, I get a phone call. And he, I'm talking to Pete. I think it was Coach Orgeron. He, the head coach at LSU now. I think it was Coach Orgeron, the one that first called me, and he got this raspy voice, and I'm talking to him, and he did like, he basically telling me to come up to the field, you just come check out the campus and this, that, and the other. Not, being in that from that area, I haven't been on the campus before, but I ain't never been in none of the facilities and nothing like that. But I think I ended up talking to Pete, and he was like, he told me to come up there and make sure. I don't know if it's Pete or Coach Orgeron, but someone told me to come up there and make sure I bring my cleats. And I'm like, bring my cleats?
Unofficial workout.
Right. Right. I never worked out, but they would always tell me to bring my cleats. And I mean, I used to go up there, and at this time it was like Troy Polamalu on the field, bouncing around. I do run like a deer. Do run flawless. Like I ain't never seen a dude run that smooth.
Yeah.
And they had some big time dudes up there. Reggie, was Reggie there? I don't know if Reggie was there yet, but they had some big time dudes up there that I heard, growing up, and I mean, just through papers and all the rest of that stuff. So, but I mean, it ended up being so. I go on a trip to Cincinnati, and at this time, I failed all my classes. I was nowhere close to graduating. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, at some point I gotta tell the coach, you know what I mean? So we eating, he took me to some place downtown. It was like eating some like alligators or something. I don't know. We was eating some crazy stuff. And I had to finally tell him, and he got hot. I was like,
you took my trip.
Right. He's like, you wait to tell me now? And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, because, basically I got a plan already. Like I already know what I got to do. So, I got to go such and such time. And, I basically had to do summer school. I had to, from like 9 in the morning, like 9 at night, I had classes.
You had night classes and everything.
Oh yeah. It was torture, bro. And still train. And, my coach still to this day uses this story to tell the kids it's the same story. You know what I mean? Because, he seen what I had to do to get out, man. It was a grind. Like when I tell you a grind, I did it for like 6 weeks, those, 12-hour days and working out, and you know what I mean? So, so it was cool. Ended up working out, I ended up getting it done. The reason why I chose my head coach, basically, because I used to be a knucklehead. So my head coach told me basically just to, go somewhere new and get out of town so I don't get in trouble. So that's kind of why I started leaning on Cincinnati. And I did so many classes that summer to go to USC, I would have to take 2 more. And I was like, man, I don't know if I could do it.
I'm done.
And at that time, to me, like D1 was D1 and USC wasn't good. They a subpar team. and I'm end up going to Cincinnati, and then they win a national championships while I'm sitting at my dorm room like, man, what the hell? You know what I mean? But at the time, I mean, they wasn't good, and I didn't really, have any guidance. I didn't know, the history of USC like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If I would have somebody grab me, be like, yo, it don't matter what this is
Yeah, you about to
USC.
do these 2
Yeah,
classes.
yeah, right. I would have did those classes in a hurry. You know what I mean? Just to go to that school, and but no, I ended up going to Cincinnati. When I went on that trip, we had so much fun. It was like, I remember I think I seen Ty say the same thing. We had so much fun on the trip. I ended up was like, man, I could do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we ended up going to the Natty.
Yeah. Who was your host?
I'm trying to think. I don't remember who my host was. I remember when he said that I was trying to think, but I don't remember who it was at all. I can't remember who the host was.
Oh, okay. But all right, so now you come to Cincinnati because when I came, for whatever, it started snowing.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't heavy snow, it was light snow.
Right.
And they made sure to tell me, because I'm from California, they made sure to say, this is the hardest it ever snowed.
Right. That's tough. Hey, my first year, it was the hardest it ever snowed. It was the worst winter they had forever.
Record-setting winters, right?
Right. Man, our school was closed so much because they kept running out of salt. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man. But no, I ended up going. I think I went in the summer, so it was humid as I don't know what. But
Yeah.
it was terrible. We had fun, so I was like, man, I could do this.
Okay.
I only had 2 choices at that point. Either had to go to NAU with my boy, and I was like, man, he went AA. I want to go Division I. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it ended up being a good experience. Obviously, this is why we talking now, man. I met so many people that's still in my life today. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Man, so how was it upon the official arrival, when you, man, I'm here to work now?
Right.
How was that?
Well, I think a lot of the problem is, the guidance and the mentorship. You know what I mean? Because, looking back on it, I definitely wouldn't have chosen Cincinnati knowing who they had there. Like, I didn't even look into it. They had Blue, they had Zach, you know what I mean? And they recruited me because I went both ways my whole life. I played receiver and defensive back, kick return, punt return my entire life. Yeah. Like, I didn't know nothing different. Like, I always was on the field. So that's what appealed to a lot of schools.
Yeah.
Being able to still do that in junior college, it was like in high school, going to high school, it was like, you ain't gonna do that in college. And I go to college, I'm still doing it. And they was like, you ain't gonna do that when I get to Cincinnati. I'm like, yeah, they tell me I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? And I get there and I'm like, man, they already got Zach and Blue. You know what I mean? And they legit good. Like, I couldn't even get mad. Like, I'm like, these dudes is good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So, and they had Ty, Van, Johnny O, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, I ain't gonna play receiver either. Like, what's going on? So I'm the honorary nickelback, you know what I mean? And I'm kind of hot. Like, I'm hot. So I don't know what they call it, like they Big Brother or something like that.
Yeah, when you get Big Brother.
So Blue was my big brother, and they be saying we look alike. They used to call me Navy Blue. Call me Navy Blue. I used to get hot. He blue, you Navy Blue. Oh, let me grab some water.
Yes, sir.
I used to get hot, man. So,
they called him Navy Blue.
So our first little meeting, when you got to introduce yourself, you got to say something good about your big brother. I end up, we from Cali, man. So we always got to take anything we want. We ain't talking nothing different. So I go in there and I just start roasting Blue. I roasted Blue for like 15 minutes instead of saying anything good about him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm basically like, I just roast him. And, some people laughing, and I could see Zach. I remember Zach was looking hot, and Blue was looking hot. You know what I'm saying? And I was looking around the room. The coach who recruited me was looking like, man, what is this dude doing? You know what I mean? And so I ended up roasting Blue, and I ended up saying, well, he's a starter now, but I'm about to take it or something, something cocky. So the meeting adjourned, you know what I'm saying? So we walking out the meeting, and my coach that recruited me was like, "Man, you ain't trying to make no friends, are you?" And I didn't even understand what he meant. I didn't understand what he meant. Like, what you mean? You know what I mean? So we go eat. We go to eat after the meeting. And
But hey, this during camp,
this is
hybrid.
like right before camp started. So they all the newcomers practice first, and then you get with the old heads, and then you got like the meeting, and then we went to eat. So this is right before we go to camp.
Yeah, okay.
And so we eating, and I go to sit down, and like everybody kind of avoid me. I'm like, oh, what's going on? You know what I mean? I still don't get it. So everybody kind of avoid me. And I remember, I think I sat by Jay Russ and Holly, and them dudes is goofy, so them dudes is just laughing like, man, what makes you think you about to come in here and do this? You know what I'm saying? I think Zach was sitting across from me too, and Zach ain't even saying nothing. And, I'll start saying my piece or whatever the case is, and them niggas just Holly and Russ is kind of making jokes and laughing, and then Zach just get hot like, man, you gonna come here and disrespect this man, this, that, and the other. And I started thinking about it like, damn, I wasn't trying to do it like that. I was just kind of joking for one, and then what I'm saying, I ain't gonna get this spot. Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna say to take the spot.
Right.
So, but the rest of that was just jokes. And so I mean, so in camp for me was a battleground because now everybody on my head,
you, huh?
Everybody on my head. Who on my head? Practice. He started talking to me crazy. I'm going, no. You this, that, and the other. We gonna show you this, that, and the other. Talking to me crazy. I'm like, yeah, we gonna see. Because I feel like,
hey,
like we gonna see anybody.
I'm the whole mind down,
right?
Huh?
Yeah. So we gonna see. I end up getting into it with Van. I end up getting into it with every single receiver down there. Me and Van got my first scrap. That's how me and him so cool to this day because I ain't back down. You know what I mean? So we got into the scrap. I basically got into it with the whole team that camp, man.
you know.
And after that, that's why everybody was cool because it was like, man, this dude held his own, man. We all tried to give it to him, and then right after that, Van basically kind of put me under his wing, you know what I mean? And right when we left camp, he took me out and all the rest of that stuff, you know what I mean? So
nice.
After that, it was cool.
Yeah, so you earned your way back. You earned your way in.
I had to. Like, I wrote a check, you know what I'm saying?
You wrote a check, boy. Because I know how Zach is, boy. Once Zach get mad, like, Zach, man, calm down, Zach.
Right. Exactly. And that,
Zach, boy, that dude, we used to, man, Zach, you got to calm down, young Zach.
Right.
But that's what got him in there as a freshman. He came in as a freshman and was the only freshman, like, putting it down. He was on the field from freshman on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it was all attitude.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's what made me and him tight too. Because at the end of the day, I pretty much had the same attitude. It was just how I came out about it. The first meeting and whatnot. You know what I mean? So, and I was older too because I was a JUCO transfer. You know what I mean? So it was like, man, I ain't gonna come here and lay down.
I already proved myself. Yeah.
Right. So it was that, and but yeah, I mean, again, having somebody in your life that can help you and guide you and mentor you, I think that's what's lacking a lot in college sports. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And every program and organization is different, I guess, but a lot of us, we're the first ones doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So so having someone to tell you what to do and what not to do and when to do it, you know what I mean? And makes things a little bit easier instead of going through and because I felt like in college I was real misunderstood. I always had good intentions. I just didn't always
express it
right. Express it right. You know what I mean? So I got into a lot of trouble just on that alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I had somebody, I remember I got in trouble so much. The same coach who recruited me told me, like, you ever thought about going to church? I was like, church? Damn, I'm that bad. I gotta go to church.
It's crazy. Get prayed for,
man. Right. That's basically what he was telling me, like, man, you need somebody to spray some holy water on you, bro. You know what I mean?
This dude is walking into trouble.
Right.
That's too funny, man.
It just seemed like anything I did, trouble just happened. Like I wasn't even trying. Like, man, I ain't trying to get in trouble.
He said, man, you ever thought about going to church?
Right. Talking about going to church. I was like, bruh, I'm on my good behavior right now. I'm still in trouble. How was that possible? I had Down Patrol for life. For life. I'm talking about anybody else getting on Down Patrol, I had to go. Like, I'm like, y'all better stop missing classes, man. I can't keep getting up. If anybody did anything wrong, I had to go.
Oh, man.
The most fit dude on the team.
All from Down Patrol.
All Down Patrol. I was a Down Patrol beast.
Oh, boy. Oh, man. So what was the game that you was like, man, I'm D1 right now. Like, I'm big time right now.
Are you talking about in JUCO?
No. When you was at UC, like, was it at what point in time did you say, man, this is really going down right now? Was it ever that time where you was like, yo, man, this is, because I remember running the first game, running out behind the flags.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It was probably the first game. I think we played like ECU the first game, and it was a real close. It was a nail biter, and I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was Ty or someone caught a touchdown. It was like a late game win. You know what I mean? And it was just so hype and loud and just. It was way more going on than how it was in JUCO. More people attending the game and all the rest of that. I want to say the first game though that I was like, man, this is it. This is college. Is when we played Ohio State in
Paul Brown.
Yeah, Paul Brown, not Nipper. Sorry, Paul Brown. And that game I still remember. Man, we was in the tunnel. Before the game, we were so hyped. I'm talking about hype. We ran, they just shouting that the whole tunnel just was echoing. And we came out with so much energy, man. They were scared. They were scared the whole first half until they realized, like, I think we took the brakes off, because we had them down. It was like 0 to 14 and a half. These dudes were scared. We never thought it was going to, we pumped them from start to the first half. Like, it's over. This is the same year they won the national championship too. So this game I still think about because we had the game. It was over. I know scared when I see scared. They were scared. Like we pumped them the whole game. They were shook. And it wasn't until, they Ohio State, coaching and whatnot. Better players, whatever the case is. So if you let them stay in the game, they're gonna figure it out after a while. And that's kind of what we did. Instead of putting our foot on the neck second half, we came out running the ball. They couldn't. LV caught like a one-handed catch behind them, and they couldn't really stop them dudes. And what we was doing was working. And then we came out conservative, trying to run the clock out. Even when they started gaining momentum, we still was conservative. I'm like, everybody looking like, man, this is slipping away. And then at the end of the game, we had like chance after chance after chance in the end zone.
Put it away.
Put it away. I think it was like, we went for the end zone like 3 times. It probably was like 3 drops.
Man,
everybody had a chance to drop one.
Man, and I always say, man, the difference between Ohio State or any college team, the only the distinguishing thing that makes a team good versus a regular school is just attitude, man.
Right.
Because man, when we was playing, when I first got there, they didn't have the edge. They wasn't edgy. And then because Blue was pretty much like, he let us know, look, man, y'all, I've been here, man. We can do this.
Right.
And he brought this edge to us. But we all had it, man. We had Peak. Peak would just do something crazy.
Right.
And we got to back Peak up. And it was just all attitude. And I think because when they played them this year, I was like, dude, I didn't see the attitude. Like, it wasn't no attitude.
No, Coach used to, Miller used to always preach that swagger. You know what I'm saying? So we always had, we were swagged out, man. That was our best quality. You know what I'm saying? So we get on that court, man. I mean that field. We gonna, you gonna feel it, like And I think Ohio State at that time wasn't ready for what for the type of pressure we was putting on them. And we had a lot of athletes. We had a ton of athletes. You know what I mean? Especially that year, speaking of peak, like we had a bunch of dogs on the squad, you know
A
what I mean?
whole
So,
bunch of them.
speaking of blue, like I ain't never seen a person that dedicated and that serious about his craft, you know what I mean? Like it was nuts, man. I always coming from JUCO, I was that dude. I was the one that would do the extra stuff, this, that, and the other. Then I met Blue. I'm like, damn, this dude just take me to another level. So it wasn't a time like if he do back pedals after practice, I'm doing back pedals after practice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I was like, man, I already told him, man, I was gonna take his spot, and now he out working me, so I got to be there too. Like, fuck it, we working, fuck it, we working. Yeah, you working, I'm working.
We working.
That's basically what I
I'm
was
taking
going
your
there.
spot still.
Right. Right. So gradually, I mean, that started changing, and to him just teaching me is and that type of stuff, but just the type of person he was, man. The type of leader he was, it was crazy, man, and it was cool to be around that, man, just to see, someone on a different level than you are, you know what I mean? And then obviously, Zach just kind of filled in, he just had his own drive, you know what I mean? He wasn't the type that had to show you, but he basically was driven, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we all was.
Yeah.
We had a nice little core when it was us three for sure. And Glove used to come back to the campus and show me things as well. I think after I graduated, Glove took me to some tryouts, some arena tryouts, and me and Glove used to work a lot. Um, you know, Bake came back. I used to Bake up.
I love makeup.
I hope Bake see this too.
Bake gonna see this.
Man.
Bake
I hope you see this, man. I'll D you up too. But you sitting there waiting in my back pedal on Bake to come. But oh, he gonna be hot. But nah, man, it was a bunch of different characters, man, and everybody, brought something to the table, man, and it's definitely an experience that you just can't forget, man. These people be your people for life. Because of that, I mean, we did everything together. When you think about it, man, a lot of us didn't have family to call on and to go back on, and talking about what we doing in our state as far as paying, starting to writing that bill to pay the players. I think that's huge, man. I mean,
Huge.
I remember nights being in the dorm room hungry, not having food. After the calf closed, if you don't have $5 to give Domino's, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You know
Or
what I
go
mean?
to Acropolis.
Right. Or if you ain't got a family to call, I don't know what Tim Tebow talking about, but not all of us got somebody to call. We ain't all, the reason why many of us is playing collegiate sports is to get to the next level to make money. You know what I mean? So, so it ain't about just the pride of NCAA or, any of those other privileged things that he's talking about. That's not why we there. We ain't, nobody didn't just say, hey, I just want to go to college. That's it. So all I want to do is go to college. We all had bigger dreams and aspirations, you know what I mean? And that definitely was to make it to the next level. You know what I mean? So, I can't wait. I mean, for me, just seeing that and knowing that, when my kid gets to that point, whether, he's 9 now, but whether he wants to play ball or not, he gonna have a chance to get compensated for his likeness, and that's huge.
Yeah, that's huge, man. Especially when they making billions, they making money hand over fist.
Right, man. Because I already knew they was making so much cheese, and it was like they say, it's a dictatorship, right?
Yeah.
But it was one year. I want to say it was a couple years back when the topic started getting real heavy, and I'm watching NCAA, and they talked to the I don't know if it was a commissioner or treasurer. They talked to the NCAA commissioner, treasurer. Basically, he was the dude that was in charge of the budget, right?
Yeah.
So they interviewing him at halftime, and he says. So they ask him the question about being able to pay the players and if they have the money to do so, and he says 90% of the NCAA budget is made during the month of March.
Wow, for March Madness.
Just for March Madness. So NCAA athletic budget is
covered in March.
90% of that's covered in just 1 month.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't talking about none of the major football teams, nothing like that, right? Wow. They make all their money in March.
Just March Madness, just in basketball.
just in basketball. It's going to cover
Wow.
the track, the base, all the teams, all the sports that don't really make a lot of money for the university covered in March, right? And when he told me that, I'm like, yo, did he really just say that on national television? am, I the only one that just heard this? Like, is this, and they really still able to do this? Like, how is this happening? Like, how is this happening? And it's just crazy to me that they really exploiting these kids like that, exploited us like that. You know what I mean? Like, crazy to me. I used to see my jersey in the student center too. You know what I mean? I don't know if they just picked the number 10, but whatever the case is, but it was my jersey.
Was wearing it. It was your number.
Yeah,
you were wearing it. That was your number, Jack.
Right. You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, like, this is crazy. You know, and Tim Tebow to get on TV and say, hey, I had the number 3 jersey next to like Kobe and LeBron or something like that in college, and I just did it for the love. And I'm like, bro, you in a different circumstance.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to do that, man, then that's on you. You can't put that on
you can't talk to everybody that's playing.
Right. You can't put that in. And they ain't being selfish by saying, hey, I need to make some money. Like, I'm hungry. Like, that's not selfish. It's not selfish, man. It's capitalism. So I don't know who makes Tim Tebow the face of NCAA. I don't even understand that. But
yeah, because when I came here from California, man, I had 100. I came in the summer for the summer camp. Like a month before before camp, just to get acclimated or whatever. Man, I came with $100 all the way from California, man.
Right.
In my clothes.
I don't think I had that.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was out there struggling, boy.
Right.
I was out here struggling.
I already know. I mean, at that time, I wasn't really talking to my moms either because of the situation with her fiance. She basically just took his side, you know what I'm saying, and kind of left me out to dry. I'm like, I might not even been to college if I wasn't if I wasn't resilient, if I didn't want it enough, like,
if you didn't have that bounce back.
For me, like, having a single mom, in high school, I was in the papers and all the rest of that. Nobody ever went to my games. My brother was out doing his own thing. My middle brother, he kind of quiet, so he don't ever do nothing. You know what I mean? I never had any family support except for my friend's family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's they would, if I would ride my bike and they had a van, so sometimes they'll throw my bike in the back of the van and pick me up, that type of stuff. But it was really just me doing it. You know what I mean? Like, no one told me to go to school. No one told me to go to college. You know what I mean? I just basically did it. So when I got to Cincinnati, that's kind of why it was a little bit different. Like, it was like, I've been a man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a man, but I've been making decisions on my own. Like, I got here on my own.
Yeah.
So we had a coach that was, when you first come in there, you start off with I'm with the freshmen, you know what I mean, and a couple other JUCO transfers.
Yeah.
And this coach, he just MFing. He MFing all the freshmen. They scared, man. They ain't never been on this campus or nothing like that, man. I could tell it.
It's new for
them, right? And and again, like in my college, I was the blue, like I was a leader. So I keep trying to grab these dudes to the side, like, man, just keep doing what you're doing, man. This dude tripping. Like, I never seen a coach talk to somebody like this. Like, this is disrespectful as hell. Right. And I'm like, at some point he gonna bring that to me. But while I was with the younger kids, he didn't do that. But as soon as we got in the camp and Blue and all that was there, I became one of the younger kids. Now he started talking to me crazy. So me and him quickly got into it because I already had in my mind. I'm like, as soon as he say something to me, I'm gonna lay it down now, so he don't think he can just keep doing this because I ain't with the MFing. Like, you ain't gonna keep MFing me. Like, it ain't happening, right? So sure enough, it came to a point like I didn't do a break or something small. Like, it was something small. I didn't do a break or something correctly, and then he just go to MFing me, and I'm like, yo, not that serious, bro. Like, I'll go back and do it again to do it correctly. Like, I messed up one time since you seen me in the last week, and then you gonna start MFing me, and we basically got into it. Like, that coach never liked me. You know what I mean? He just had no choice but to play me, but he never really liked me. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And we actually almost fought. We actually almost fought. We're in a film session at Higher Ground, and he ends up saying, you MF this, you MF that, looking at the film. I'm like, I barely did something wrong. Like, it wasn't nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And he going big end. You know what I mean? I'm looking at Zach and Blue, and they was just like, man, just shaking their head too. Like, man, what's this dude doing? You know,
Yeah.
so I ended up getting up, like, and he's like, you do something. He told me I was bad at something, and I just ended up like, man, you a bad coach, and this, that, and the other, and started getting back at him.
Yeah.
And so then he ended up kicking me out the meeting, and he say some stuff as I'm leaving, and I forget what I said, but I said something that got to him. Like, man, you ain't never gonna be this or something that got to him.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, he's storming after me. I'm going out the door. I look back, and this dude's storming after me. Blue and Zach trying to hold him back. I'm like, let him go. Like, let him
Yeah.
go.
I got something for him. I've been
Right.
waiting for
Let me
it.
show him what it is. And I ended up saying whatever, and I just walked out the meeting. Next day I had to talk to Minner. You know, he basically told me just to be chill, just that and the other.
Yeah.
But you know, me and him always had that problem. It came to like my senior year because I don't know if you remember, but my senior year I ended up playing receiver for the last 5 games. I was a receiver of the year. In the bye week they moved me over to receiver, and I was rusty as I don't know what. I wish I had another year for that because
Yeah.
I've been backpedaling for a year and a half, and I'm used to
Yeah.
going both ways. You know what I'm saying? And for like a year and a half, I've been just backpedaling. I ain't did one route. So, you know, just the timing and all that stuff, you know, and, you know, running forward and the timing and all the rest of that stuff was off with me and Gino. But, you know, I wish I had another year to get that together.
Yeah.
But, but, but yeah, I mean, you know, it was basically that. Like he was trying to get me out from being a DB too because he didn't want to deal with me. And I was like, shit, I don't want to deal with him either. So when they asked me, I was like, shoot, let's
Wow.
go. I got a, I got a bunch of funny stories, man, but I got an even funnier story. You know, I don't know where you want your YouTube to go,
Man,
but
go for it, man. Hey,
all right,
it's uphill, man. It's
so
what goes on, man.
right. So we all got a big group text on Facebook with all the players on it. So someone one day ended up saying like, Coach Dino got a Facebook. And I'm like, he got a Facebook? I seen this, so I started chiming in like, he's got a Facebook, man. I hate this dude. I'm about to get at him. So, so I go find him on Facebook. I go on his DM, and I'm like, man, I just get at him like, man, this is as a grown man. Like this is probably like it's probably a minute ago now, but I mean, I probably